Week 1 is in the books, and the NFC North is already upside down. J.J. McCarthy just got named Offensive Player of the Week, despite throwing for under 200 yards and a pick 6. Meanwhile, Bears fans are ready to bench Caleb Williams after just one game. But many former quarterbacks are saying, pump the brakes. Both Chicago and Detroit are 0-1. Both lost the division. So is this already a must-win matchup in Week 2? Let's debate. I'm Rob Schwartz with Bear Goggles On. With me tonight is my co-host and good buddy, Bob Weiss. This is the Hallis Huddle, where the takes hit harder than Dick Butkus.
Hey, we love how our community has grown. We get subscribers every video. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe now. If you are subscribed, please make sure you comment on this video. We're trying to create a community here, an open forum where Bears fans can come here and discuss respectfully. It doesn't matter if we agree or not. Let's have the conversation down in the comments. We love responding. We had a News or Noise episode for you today, so it's a great time to get your comments in there, let you know what you agree with and what you don't agree with.
Yeah, we love this format. Basically, we're going to throw some topics out there and we're going to debate them, news or noise. So let's get to it right away. Caleb Williams on the hot seat. Is it almost Tyson Bagent time? Look, it was a rough first game in certain situations, but like I said in the intro, some people are saying to, pump the brakes. Kurt Warner being one of them, Ryan Fitzpatrick being one of them, Dan Orlovsky being one of them. So there's some big names out there, right? So I ask you, Bob, news or noise? Caleb Williams will not finish the season as the QB1 if he doesn't make noticeable improvement.
Just asking for a hot take. So I'm actually saying news on this one. And just to be clear, I'm not saying second half against Detroit if he has 2 incompletions that are unacceptable in the first half is Tyson Bagent time. What I'm saying is if we're into week 8-9 of this season and we are still seeing the cadence not throwing off his own offensive lineman, if we are still seeing these unacceptable incompletions from a settled pocket, right? If we are still seeing not being able to properly identify the mic in order to get the running game in line, then it might be time to at least put Tyson Bagent in there and let Caleb see that, hey, quarterbacks are capable of doing this. If you're not capable of doing it, we will find a quarterback who's capable of doing it. And now maybe it's just a week or 2 of that until it's clear that Tyson Bagent is a nice quarterback, but not the potential that Caleb Williams still has, and Caleb Williams gets back in there. Or, who knows if this is just an absolute shit show of a season, which is still on the table, and then it just does become Tyson Bagent time, and you see what you can recoup for Caleb Williams. I'm not predicting that. I'm just saying Caleb Williams cannot play the exact same way he did in week 1 for week on week on week on end and just expect to end week 18 as the starting quarterback of the Chicago Bears. Not when you did just sign Tyson Bagent to make sure he sticks around beyond next season.
Look, Tyson Bagent is a great guy. Okay. He's a fitness freak, doing his burpees and all that nonsense. After he got his contract extension, gave some lady, a young lady, a $10,000 tip. I just saw. Okay. Offered to pay off her college loans. Okay. Great guy. Deserves to be here. I'm excited that he has worked his way up to QB2 and is making a name within the locker room. That said, this is noise. It's noise. I don't care. And people are going to, you said there's a hot take for you. People are going to hate me right now. They're going to hate me. I don't care if this is a wasted season for the Chicago Bears. I don't. Here's the thing. The Packers are already off to a great start. This is Thursday night that we're recording this. They are currently winning 17-3. They are screwing my whole entire offseason nonsense trying to get Packers fans riled up when I said they weren't even going to be a playoff team. And now to just move on from a guy who was a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, a guy who has been decorated as probably the best prospect since Andrew Luck, to go to Tyson Bagent, a D2 quarterback who played, 5 years for Shepherd? I just don't see it. Give him time. Give him time to learn, to grow. We're already seeing a huge adjustment. He's not using the band, right? He's not looking at his wrist to call plays. He's knowing them. Okay. That in itself is a huge adjustment. Another big adjustment. He's playing from under.
Are you sure his band wasn't covered up by that ridiculous T-shirt?
I never saw it. But the T-shirt was ridiculous. The guy is playing under center a lot more, something he's not used to doing. He switched up his footwork, something that he's not used to doing. Give him time, even if it's the full season. I'm okay with it. Because if it means you're going to go, look, Tyson Bagent is great. He is never going to be great. He's never going to be elite. He just isn't. Go ahead and prove me wrong. Be a Brock Purdy, who I also don't think is elite. But go out there and prove that you can run a system and be a good quarterback. I'm fine with being proven wrong. My wife tells me I'm wrong all the time. I don't have a problem with it here because guess what? If he proves that, the Bears are good. I won't be upset about it. But what I will tell you is that I'm not ready to move on in year 2 at any point this season outside of an injury from Caleb Williams to Tyson Bagent.
Okay.
All right. If you thought that was a hot take, I got an even hotter take for you. Today on the Cap and Hood Show, okay? David Kaplan, Jay Hood, ESPN. There was a caller that called in. Him and David Kaplan went at it on the radio. Just went at it. He called out David Kaplan for talking about what other? Benching Caleb Williams for Tyson Bagent. Now, Cap defended himself, said, look, I never said that. I never said who. I said it could be at any position. I just want to know with this coach who wants to win very badly, how short are these people's leashes, right? How much patience is going to be involved at any position? Any position. What came up in that conversation was the caller's name was Chris. I don't know who this Chris is. I know a lot of Chris's. Maybe it's a Chris I know. If you somehow listen to this podcast and you are that Chris, let me know. We'll get you on the show. That'll be an awesome, awesome episode. He calls out Cap, calls out all of the local media and says, you media are the reason why the quarterbacks fail here in Chicago. So, Bob, I ask you, news or noise? The local media is at fault for how quickly quarterbacks are run out of town here in Chicago. Soon to be Arlington Heights.
I'm going noise on this one. It is the quarterback's fault that they're getting run out of town. And the media is just, reporting that the quarterbacks aren't good enough, right? And it's something that we all just kind of see, right? Like everyone wanted Mitch Trubisky to be the man, right? But the organization put him in a rough spot already by overdrafting and, the trading up, which I'm not a believer that trading up was the problem, is the evaluation of the quarterback was the problem. But by trading up to 2 to get a quarterback who wasn't deserving of that already put him in a rough spot. So the media goes on edge there, but that's the organization's fault, not the media's fault. And then he goes through that rookie year, looks overwhelmed because he hasn't enough starts under his belt. Again, organization's fault, not media's fault. Looks pretty good with Nagy in that first year. Looks like there's room to grow. And then his third year is Nagy's fault. He tried to go from, QB 103 or whatever to 301. Like, Matt, 201 exists for a reason, right? Like, let's bring this guy along. You literally coached out scrambling on third downs to get first downs out of him. Like, he had a QBR of 70 plus in that second season with Matt Nagy, the first season with Matt Nagy, second season of his career, because of the first downs he picked up with his legs. And you coached that out of him. That's Matt Nagy's fault, not the media's fault, right? And then you go to Justin Fields. Justin Fields just never learned how to play quarterback. He was content being an athlete back there and just letting that athleticism work. And, the media just had enough of the losing, had enough of the quarterback not being good enough in fourth quarters to bring wins to the table, right? That's not the media. That's just the quarterback. Now, that being said, the media here in Chicago is bigger and deeper and just more pressure packed than other markets. Like, maybe that's fine. Maybe you could say that it's just there's that element to it that no matter what you do, it's going to be higher pressure because of the size of the market. But at the end of the day, if you're successful as a quarterback, the media, trust me, the media wants to prop these guys up as high and as hard as they can, right? They want the champion, right? And they'll probably go out of their way to make sure that happens. But when you see these cracks in the armor and it's just clearly not going to happen, then again, I don't think that's the media's fault. I think it falls on the player, organization, coach, and the media is just there, telling you what they see.
I'm going to cheat the system a little bit here. Okay. I'm going to say it's news. It's news, but I'm going to ride the fence a little bit.
Okay.
Just a little bit. So look, Chicago is what? Third largest market in the United States when it comes to sports entertainment. Okay. It's very difficult to play at a high, not a high level, but be a name, right? A famous name here in the city of Chicago when you don't meet the expectations of fans, when you don't meet the expectations of maybe where you were drafted. Mitch Trubisky, second overall, right? Justin Fields, they traded up for him to take him at 11. Now, Caleb Williams, first overall. It's very difficult on its own for those types of things to happen. What I will say is it does seem like the local media has a bit of an agenda. The Mark Podashes of the world, the Dan Wiederers of the world, okay? Mr. and Mrs., whatever, negativity, okay? I'll just put those two together as a couple. And has it been because they've been here for so long covering a team that has been a shit show for so long? Sure. But guess what? We as Bears fans have been doing this too. We have lived and died going through this season after season after season after season. We have high expectations. But there isn't a position more beloved in the city of Chicago than the backup quarterback. We're seeing it with Tyson Bagent. I saw it with Caleb Haney when Jay Cutler was quarterback. It doesn't matter who you are. The media makes a spin to make it seem that these guys are bad. Jay Cutler was a good quarterback. I will die on that hill. He was a very good quarterback. He wasn't a great quarterback. He wasn't an elite quarterback. He was a very good quarterback. But here in Chicago, you would have thought he was 27th, 28th best in the league. Caleb Williams has his difficulties, his issues, was very good in some areas, very bad in other areas, a lot of efficiency issues. What I expect is for him to succeed. He already hit a floor that we haven't seen here in Chicago since I've been born. He outplayed, from a statistical standpoint, Jim McMahon, who won the 1985 Super Bowl. And all the old heads who I know who are watching are going to be like, Rob, what the? Get out of here with that nonsense. But guess what? He did. Different eras, but he did. Negativity sells. Negativity sells. These guys love to push the negative nonsense out there, whether it's clickbait headlines, whether it's clickbait talking points. It's what they do. It's why the Colin Cowards of the world have jobs. It's why the Stephen A. Smiths of the world have jobs. It's why the Skip Baylesses of the world have jobs. The now Shannon Sharp of the world has jobs. Like, these guys just push negativity. And look, your psyche, I expect as a professional athlete, you have to have an unbelievable mentality to be able to be the quarterback one in the Chicago Bears. You do. Not everyone's Michael Jordan when it comes to a psyche. That guy had it, right? I don't think it would have mattered what anyone wrote. That guy would have succeeded. Mitch Trubisky wanted to turn the TVs off. Why? Because he was tired of hearing the shit. He really was. He was tired of hearing it. And I don't blame him. We are human beings. That said, it's on you to get out the noise. So that's where I'm going to ride the fence here. It's on them. You guys want to be the best. Caleb Williams wanted to come in here and, well, he didn't want to come here. He wanted to go to Minnesota. But now that he knew that he had a chance to change things here, he wanted to make history here in Chicago. You got to get that out of your mind. You got to be, I wish Ted Lasso was on the show. You got to be a goldfish. 10-second memory. Get that out of your mind. Move on. Because it's the only way that you're going to succeed here in Chicago. I still have a lot of faith for the Ben Johnson-Caleb Williams pairing. Ben Johnson came here knowing Caleb Williams was the quarterback. He had no clue what he was going to get in Tyson Bagent. So stop that nonsense. Time to move on. Time to accept and embrace. Let's lift these guys up. Positivity. Lift them up. Give them the confidence that they need. It's important. It's very important. My son, I don't want to get too personal, is a very good soccer player. Not great. Very good soccer player. They both are. But he puts his earbuds in. He gets his, hyped music on before he goes in. He literally meditates, envisioning himself succeed. If I was out there telling him how bad he's playing or doing all that instead of hyping him up, I guarantee you his games would be worse every week. But we hype him up as a team, and he plays well. And if he doesn't play well, the other teams help, or the other players help pick him up. So that's what I need from this 21 other people that are on the field consistently. Lift up your quarterback. Lift each other up. Bears fans, lift them all up. Let's move on.
Nice job with that, Rob. Nice job.
Speaking of agendas, does the NFL have an agenda? What the hell? When I saw that J.J. McCarthy was literally voted NFC Offensive Player of the Week, I hinted at it. He threw for less than 200. He threw for less than 150 yards. He threw a pick six. He was responsible for an additional 7 points that went to the opponent's team. How in the hell did the NFL allow this to happen? So I turn to you, Bob. News or noise? J.J. McCarthy had no business winning NFC Offensive Player of the Week.
So I believe my initial reaction to this news also was WTF, I believe was my response. But I'm still going noise here. Narrative has a big contribution to a lot of awards in the NFL. MVP is a lot of narrative. Coach of the Year, 100% is narrative. And then when you kind of go off the shock, when you just saw a quarterback look terrible for 3 quarters and throw a touchdown to the other team, that quarterback won NFC Player of the Week, like, all right, who else could have won it? And, at the end of the day, J.J. McCarthy had 3 touchdowns. He won a highly publicized game in his first NFL start on the road. Primetime game, Monday Night Football, just a great feel-good story for everybody who isn't associated with the Chicago Bears. And you just kind of see it. Nobody in the NFC had more than 3 touchdowns. He had 3 touchdowns, right? There's only, obviously, NFC teams were all playing NFC teams, I believe, in week 1, which was kind of an oddity. But, so that means there's, I don't even know how math works, 15 other NFC teams that won. Nobody put up a ridiculous score in the NFC. So, you had a couple other quarterbacks who played pretty well. Jaden Daniels' stat line was way better, but he didn't have the touchdowns, right? Jordan Love played a pretty decent game, but at the end of the day, if they're going to settle on the narrative, it is what it is, Just it is what it is. As a Bears fan, it probably pisses us off more than any other fan base.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, but I am going completely news. Completely news. There is no reason why J.J. McCarthy should have won this award. When you throw a pick six, that negates a touchdown in my book. So you only get 2. You only get 2 out of your 3. There is one guy right off the top of my head that I'm going to give this to way before I give it to J.J. McCarthy. Another guy who led a 4th quarter comeback to win the game. And that's Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield also threw 3 touchdowns last week. Okay? His stat line, if I can find what I'm looking for.
I got it here. 163 yards passing.
Only 163. More than 150. Now, I will say his completion percentage was not as good at only 53%. Ugh. But I would give it to Baker Mayfield. Guess what? I would give it to his teammate, Emeka Egbuka, who caught the game-winning touchdown and also had another one. So he had two, same as my JJ McCarthy -1 situation. I would have given it to him before I gave it to JJ McCarthy. And I'm going to really piss Bears fans off. And people are going to be like, Rob, what are you doing? You hinted at it. You said it. I would have given it to freaking Jordan Love before I gave it to JJ McCarthy. And I cannot stand Jordan Love. I cannot stand the Green Bay Packers, but he deserved it way more than JJ McCarthy. He only threw for 2 touchdowns. Okay. He threw for less than 200 yards, only 188, but he finished with 131 QB rating. His completion percentage was 73%. Very, very efficient. All 3 of those guys, I'm giving it to him. Bijan Robinson, I'd probably give it to him over JJ McCarthy. I'd have to look back. What's the running back out of Dallas who scored 2 touchdowns? I know they didn't win the game, but like he had over 100, I think 140 some rushing yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
right?
2 touchdowns. Yep.
I'd give it to him before I give it to JJ McCarthy. I even think Saquon Barkley's stats looked better. Actually, Jalen Hurts. Didn't he score 2 rushing touchdowns? Did he throw another one? I can't remember. I know
he didn't have a throwing touchdown. But
okay, so he ran in 2. Yeah. I'd give it to Jalen Hurts before I gave it to JJ McCarthy. I know I'm being biased. As much as I can't stand Jordan Love and F the Packers, now F JJ McCarthy. That's all I got. All right, we'll make this one a little bit quicker. We got a preview episode coming out before the game on Sunday, but the Bears are in another division rivalry game here, right? They lost the first game to Minnesota. Look, Detroit lost their first game to the Packers. Wasn't a very good showing for Detroit. They lost 27-13, I think, something like that. Only got 1 touchdown. The offense looked off. To go 0-2 to start the year and be that far down in the division, Green Bay Packers are winning right now against Washington. I haven't looked to see if they're still winning, but they were winning.
They are still up. They're 27-10 with 5 minutes left in the 4th right now.
Yeah, they're winning that game. Okay, yeah. 27-10. They're winning that game. They're going to be 2-0. That's a big hole. So I ask you, Bob, news or noise? If I can get my computer to work. This is a must, and I say must, win game for the Bears going down 0-2 in the division because it'll be too big of a hole to climb out of with how well Green Bay is playing.
Look, I'm going 0-2. I'm sorry, I'm going 0-2. I'm going noise here because I predicted the Bears to go 0-2.
You did.
And still win 11 games this year, right? It's just not what's more important than winning this game is looking better than they did against the Vikings. Right now, if the Bears look better than they did against the Vikings and the Lions don't look any better than they did against the Packers, the Bears aren't going 0-2, right? But you just expect the Lions with the pedigree, the talent that they have to come back and make this another competitive game that goes down to the 4th quarter, and hopefully the Bears don't lose it because they do something stupid, right? But 0-2 is not the end of the world, right? Who do they play the week after? Week 3 is the Cowboys. Week 4 are the Raiders. Those are 2 winnable games where if week 2 is at least a better showing than week 1, you feel confident that week 3 will be better than week 2, 4 will be better than 3, and they can get those 2 wins. They go 2-2 going into that bye, and you feel good about that. And you still can win 10, 11 games in the season. Now, whether that's going to win the division, the Packers look like they might be a 14, 15 win team. So even if the Bears win against Detroit, they're still not a 14 or 15 win team, so they're not catching the Packers anyway. Okay, so let's relax. Let's just hope that they're better than they are against the Vikings and just see what happens. Let's not put this additional pressure that it's a must-win game. Look, every game in the NFL is a must-win game because there's only 17 of them. But 0-2 is not the end of the world.
So we're going to basically agree on this one. I'm going to say noise, but I'm gonna preface this as, look, I just got done saying that this is a lost season. I don't even care as long as you see growth and progress out of Caleb Williams to the point where come 2026 and beyond, this guy's your quarterback for another 10 years, right? So I can't say that and then go turn around and say this is a must-win game. Now, if we look at a vacuum and just specifically for the 2025 season, I still don't think it's a must-win game. I did have them losing it, but I also had them beating Minnesota week 1. I will say it's as close to a must-win game as you can get without it being a must-win game. I think, to your point, all games are must-win in the NFL, but divisional games are the most important. The most important. You need to at least split 3-3 every year in your division or better, if you are going to be a contender. It just seems to be that way. Chicago can't afford to keep losing these games to the NFC North. That's really all I got on this. I think you said enough.
That's fine. Yeah.
All right.
We want to win, of course, but let's just not put the whole season on this one game.
That's right. All right. This is exciting. If you missed it, go back and watch week 1. Bob not only did it on our long form episode, but there's a short out there if you just want to find the short. But Bob is putting out his weekly rankings for power rankings in the NFC North. So I am just going to turn this over to Bob and let him go.
Yeah, so week 2, obviously this is a result of the week 1 games, but as we're recording, the Packers are already playing, so their game against the Commanders didn't necessarily factor into these rankings. That won't make it into the short when I edit it, but just so everybody watching now knows that these rankings, like today was just the earliest that we could record to get these rankings in there. So here they are. All right, let's just get going with it. Coming in at number 4, once again, are the Chicago Bears. A disappointing performance in week 1 keeps the Bears at the bottom of these rankings. More consistency at quarterback will go a long way to making the most of their opportunity in week 2 for a bounce-back performance against a reeling Detroit Lions. At number 3, the Minnesota Vikings. Second-year rookie J.J. McCarthy looked overwhelmed and lost to begin his first career start in the NFL. However, he built momentum in the fourth quarter on his way to a come-from-behind win and a shocking Week 1 NFC Offensive Player of the Week award. The Vikings will have to put together more complete performances moving forward in order to move up in these rankings. At number 2, the Detroit Lions might have looked the worst of any team in the division in Week 1. However, they went against a team in the Green Bay Packers who would join the league's elite in very short order. But if they don't put together a better effort against the Bears, then they won't spend much more time at number 2 in these rankings. At number 1, it's the Green Bay Packers coming off a Week 1 dismantling of the Detroit Lions. In Week 2, the Packers look to build on their strong start by putting away another win at home against the playoff team from last year on Thursday night against the Commanders. This defense looks legit, and if Jordan Love can mature into a more dependable NFL quarterback, the Packers might never give up this top spot in the rankings. And those are your Week 2 NFC North Power Rankings.
And as always, fuck the Green Bay Packers.
As always, fuck the Packers.
All right. This was a fun episode. I had so much fun. Guys, if you are still watching, please go to the comment section. We get, Bob said it. We want to keep building this community. We want to have some fun. Like, even if we lose, let's lose. Let's be in misery together, right? Like, misery loves company. Let's just have some fun together. We'll make it interesting. We'll make it as fun as possible over the next few weeks for the whole 17.
It'll be a lot of fun if this season doesn't suck. Like, it doesn't have to suck. We don't have to be here to cry with each other. We could be here to, cry for joy with each other too.
100%. 100%. But I got nothing else. Bob, if you're good. Guys, week 2, go Bears, bear down, claws up.
Ready, break.